Hello, racing fans, and welcome back to Race in Review. We've had a weekend of fun at Monza, and the crew is all back together from their holidays to discuss this. My name is Julian, and I'll be your host today, and I'm, of course, joined by none other than the man with the best hair in the business. Used to be a Mercedes fan, then went into Ferrari fan, now bought a Mercedes himself. So I don't know who you support now, James. How are you doing? And welcome back, my friend.
I'm good, thanks. How are you? Yeah.
Quite all right. Thank you very much. It's good to have you back on. And of course, this show wouldn't be complete without the third wheel on our four-wheel card. It's none other than Graham. Welcome back, Graham.
Thanks for having us.
It's good to have you back. You've done a lot of background work there, but there's not a Formula One car there.
Not yet.
I've heard there's going to be a lot of orange in your next episode.
Yep.
Yep,
be,
man of many words.
If it all comes along, then it should be, yeah.
All right. You're looking good, and it's good to have you back. Have you guys missed Formula One? Because we've been away for a little bit because, well, new jobs, personal circumstances, holidays. Someone went away for 3 weeks, which, guys, you can't ever do that again. Please don't do that again. But we're back. James, have you missed Formula One and talking about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the summer break was bad enough, and then obviously we haven't had a chance to do a podcast until now. So, yep, I've missed it. I'm looking forward to this episode.
And we're definitely back. Graham, you ready for it? You've missed a lot. Also, now football's back.
I've missed it, but it's good to be back.
Going to be some controversial takes on this episode because let's just start here, shall we? I still can find the button. This is, of course, the Monza special. We've had the Dutch Grand Prix. Let's not discuss the Dutch Grand Prix, shall we? It's been unlucky for Ferrari. It's been unlucky for Mercedes. It's been decent for Red Bull. Of course, it's easy for McLaren. Except if you're a Lando Norris fan, James.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for him. Right towards the end of the race. But, yeah.
Shall I start with the first topic then?
Go for it.
Is the championship fight over now?
No. No. Definitely not. No. It's not even one DNF away from being over, is it? There's enough races left for Lando to just outscore Piastri
3 points at a time.
Piastri having a DNF. So I don't think so. And obviously, as we get closer and closer to the end of the season, the pressure mounts. And if Lando becomes more of an underdog kind of competitor in the championship, that massively relieves the stress and pressure off him. And then Oscar's got the pressure on him to keep performing, to maintain the lead and to win it. So it still feels like anything can happen. There's a lot of points. There's a lot of races. There's some sprint races. I think it's still completely up in the air.
Graham, your take on this?
James is right. Points-wise, it's still open, but I think Lando is a bit defeated. Came back, obviously, the engine failure in the Netherlands, and then this weekend's it's not been a good weekend either. I think his mentality is shot. I don't know if he can do it.
Shot even? What makes you think that?
Obviously, he seemed to have a bit of confidence issues at the start. So obviously, crashing in Canada, a few other mistakes, Oscar ahead of him, just seemed a bit knocked with his confidence. Had that little springing step the last 2 races before the break, especially at Silverstone. And then, obviously, Dutch Grand Prix went terribly bad for him. And then when you're listening to him on the Thursday and the Friday, he just seemed really defeated, downbeat, not his usual happy-go-lucky self. And then having to get a tow in Q1 to get out of Q1, or was it Q2? And then just the whole rigmarole of what we end up talking about at Monza. I don't think he's got the confidence. You never know that one DNF to Oscar and everything can change, but I just don't think he's got the mentality. I think he's resigned to losing.
Yeah, so I thought that as well, but I have to say that I found him much stronger after the summer break. He seems like very cool about it. Maybe he's played, but I think I still give him a proper chance. But let's go into that, because this weekend we had the Monza Grand Prix, and of course we'll talk about a certain someone whose jersey I'm now wearing again since the first time in 3 months. But let's talk about the McLaren thing. Let's ask James. James, what happened with McLaren here? What's all the commotion all about? And why does even Damon Hill don't like it?
Well, some of this completely skipped me by because I didn't realise it was as controversial as it was until last night, and we're recording this on a Tuesday. I got to be honest, I didn't even see the podium celebration. As soon as the race was over, I needed to head out, so I didn't catch any of the post-race.
So
discussions
British.
and
The national anthem of the Dutch starts playing again. You're off again.
Yeah, basically, yeah. No, it's not that. I honestly didn't. I still don't really understand why it's such a big deal. Like people are going into these really extreme examples. Like, well, if Lando puts it into the wall, are they going to ask Piastri to put it in the wall to make it fair? But that doesn't really represent or compare to what actually happened in Monza. And I thought what happened in Monza was perfectly fine because Lando offered to let Piastri go first. He questioned to make sure that he wouldn't get undercut. He was told he wouldn't get undercut. And then the team let him down with a slow pit stop and a sticky wheel. To the point where one of the pit crew the guy on that wheel, with the gun, went to put it on and then kind of sat back like it was on. But fortunately, his colleague or whatever next to him, who was does the tire swap, pointed out that it wasn't, and they sorted it out, and he was off again. But I think I don't think it's a bad thing to do that, because it was, they were playing the team game, and then it was the team that let the drivers down. It's not like Lando went off in the first corner, lost the position, and then asked for them to swap back so they can race properly and fairly. Like, he was let down by the team. So I didn't think there was an issue with it. I don't see a problem with it at all. I don't see what Damon Hill's getting at with his comparison about Prost's engine failing or whatever in whichever championship year that was, 93 or something, or 94. Yeah, I don't get what the fuss is about personally, at all.
Graham, do you get what the fuss is all about?
I can see where everybody's coming from, but obviously, being a McLaren fan, it's a bit of a mountain out of a molehill, but should never been in that situation to start with. It's been consistent all season. Whoever's first on track gets in first. I would love to know what's happened behind the scenes, because Lando said, "Did you want to put box the other car first?" And Will Joseph, who's his engineer, turns around and goes, "Yes." So then Lando questions, "Am I going to be undercut?" They go, "Nope, promise," and he agrees to it. So there must have been a strategy. Something's been discussed for Lando to ask, "Did you want to box him first?" Obviously, they're trying to stop Charles overtaking Oscar, but she never had.
I didn't get that. There's a couple of things I don't get, right? I'm just going to start first. McLaren creates these problems as well for themselves, right? Every Max is in the lead. And just my 2 cents. You can just shoot at me after this, right? But Max is in the lead. We've seen at Zandvoort, for example, that Red Bull on hards isn't that good, right? And the McLarens on hards are usually better than the Red Bulls on hards. Why do both cars, while fighting the Red Bull, or maybe they're just fighting each other and they don't care about a victory, but why doesn't one swap earlier to the hard tires to put some pressure on, at least diversify the strategies? And if you then come in reverse order, then you can also say, wait, because of the team call, I think it's fair to switch around, but at least you apply some pressure on top. Now they just had to follow, and well, Max went in earlier. There was no chance of undercut anymore. And then they bring the problem on themselves. Or am I very wrong here, James, in thinking that?
I don't think McLaren really work that way, do they? In the past, So, like for example, was it Lando in Hungary? Ended up taking on a very different approach to then either win or come second in the race. I'm trying to remember the result of that one, but
Hungary last year.
No, this season
this year.
No, he won in Hungary.
Yeah,
He went hard and lasted out.
yeah, which was a different strategy to Piastri, and I think when it comes to the two sides of the garage, they can kind of make their own decisions a bit on the race to as like an inter-team battle. So I think what it felt like to me was that's what they suggested doing with Lando, and then they decided to mirror that with Piastri. Piastri was also kind of under threat a little bit with his pit stop from Leclerc as well, wasn't he? If he'd had a slow stop, I mean, it wasn't.
It had to be really slow, like Lando.
It wasn't
slow.
super dangerous.
Oh, wait.
I think he finished like 5 seconds ahead of Piastri, of Leclerc, or something like that, didn't he? So, like, it wasn't that bad, but yeah, I don't think McLaren. It certainly doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like they work that way. Like if both drivers were fighting for the championship, then I could see them doing that. But in this current situation, I don't see McLaren doing that. I think they're just trying to keep it as fair as possible, and they are more worried about making sure that no one driver seems to be seen as being kind of given an advantage over the other when they are, they're as close as they are in the championship, and the championship is clearly just between those two drivers. At the end of the day, they don't want to upset either one of the drivers and lose either one of them because they have two championship-capable drivers in their lineup. So, kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, I think, aren't they? Because they don't want to see an explosion and fireworks like what happened with Rosberg and Hamilton at Mercedes. So yeah, I don't.
They're very good. They're very well trained in the media, at least.
They are.
So afterwards, they were like, no, we're fine, no problem. We don't care. It's fine.
But McLaren, don't get me wrong. Every team wants to win every race or as many races as possible in a season, and they would have loved to have won at Monza. But I don't think they would love to have won at Monza at the cost of upsetting or breaking trust with one of their drivers. It just isn't worth it. They're already going to win the Constructors' Championship. They're already going to win the Drivers' Championship. Why rock the boat and potentially have one of the drivers decide to leave? Plus, it could be in driver contracts as well. We don't actually know that as well. There could be something in there about how they need to be treated fairly and equally. Because there doesn't really seem to be a number one driver, and there doesn't really seem to have been a number one driver for the last even 2 or 3 years. That,
to be fair, they don't allow them to actually drive against each other, so it never will
there
be
is
a
a little
number
bit
one
of that.
driver.
I think they're a bit scared as well. Sometimes it does feel like they're over managing the situation, but
we can't really even say. At least, okay, let's put it on. I can't even say Piastri is better than Lando or the other way around, because they never have the option to fight it out.
No, Brown just doesn't
Basically,
give them a chance.
No, exactly. That's how they go into turn one. Is probably how they finish.
Yeah, which is
it's
a
McLaren.
completely different team now. But McLaren have done that all the way back in what year was it with Coulthard and Hakkinen?
We have seen a couple of times
90s.
that was it Austria where Oscar beats them around the corner. So they have they have allowed them a few times, but it's when it gets to the point where they fear that it's going to border on they're going to take a car out. Zach Brown's pretty much keep both cars on the track, don't care, both cars. So I think Oscar's got the edge at the moment. Just this season, he's shown in the little times that he's been behind Lando that he can take Lando. Lando's been fortunate a few times.
Yeah, I think what's broken Lando a little bit is that he was better than Oscar last year, and he was at one point fighting for the championship against Max, even though it was a massive long shot. And he kind of ended the season saying, "Oh well, we're going to do it next year." That was his attitude, and it came across very, "I'm going to win it for McLaren next year," when he was talking about it last year. And that's not the way it's panned out. We've got, he's got, well, both McLaren drivers. They've got the best car on the grid this year. There's no getting away from that. But I think Lando's looking at it as I've got one of the two best cars on the grid. They're both McLarens, obviously. And last year I was fighting for the championship against Max, and Oscar wasn't really in it. And now Oscar's beating me. I'm supposed to be winning this. I think I think there's a little bit of that personally, and I think that's what's bothering Lando. Or at least that's my take on it from the outside. Obviously, I don't talk to him, so I don't know. But that's how it
It's
feels
hard,
to
eh?
me. Like when you look at the bigger picture and the things that he said in the media, especially last year.
The thing is, it can be like the only chance they ever get in their careers to get that world championship in.
Yeah, I mean sometimes.
And what I'm
sometimes it's a one-off,
expecting then, and what I'm expecting then sort of is that fieritness, that feistiness, the fight in them, right? And it's not there. It's because it's managed. Maybe it's managed perfectly by McLaren. Let's put it out there, right? It could be that it's just managed to perfection. So it's not. But then I'm looking at a race where I see the number one owning everyone else, where I see some superb midfield battles, and all I see is two orange cars chasing each other, which will never end up in a fight. Why am I looking at this? Am I alone here, Graham? Like I'm seeing them drive, but I don't care about number 2 and 3 if it's McLarens. There won't be anything there.
It's been that all season, though, isn't it, with the F1 director? When we nearly missed Max going over the finishing line, it seemed, for that very quick moment until they actually switched over. The story, I think, if the story wasn't the pit stop and the swapping, we might have seen a bit more. But just bad directorship. We should be seeing more of the midfield. The midfield was where the battle was. Max was too far ahead. I don't think Lando, even if they got the safety car, which they were hoping for, if they got the blue flags that they're hoping for, I still don't think they were catching Max. I think he just had, even on hards, that he was too far ahead. So
sure, if it goes on softs and there's a safety car, that might actually end up badly. But that didn't happen. So I'm curious to see what happens at McLaren, but I don't think we'll get a fight. And maybe what happens in Abu Dhabi when there's 2 points between them, Graham? You think they'll say, "You guys duke it out, we won't say anything, just try it," or do you think there's a preference there?
Given that the constructor is completely tied up, I think if we do get towards Abu Dhabi in maybe the last 2, maybe 3 races, and there is 2 points of a difference, I think they might take the gloves off and go, right, well, championship for us as a team's tied up. Fight it between you now. We've left you alone, tried to keep you as close as possible. Now it's have it. But for the time being, I think Zach Brown's just going to do what he keeps doing, which is I want to finish with both guys on the track, points for the team, and keep it clean.
Yeah, I think that more than anything, it's the keep it clean thing, because I don't think they want to have to deal with the fallout of of one of them wiping out the other, or both of them just wiping each other out in a racing incident. However, it might potentially pan out. I mean, we were talking about Austria a couple of minutes ago, and that's where Piastri made that lunge on Lando, and then they were straight on the radio saying, "Don't make another move like that. You can't do that." I think that's just rule number one, and whether there is some sort of something in the contract as well where they can punish them somewhere, maybe financially even, and just hold some money or something along those lines if they're deemed to have caused an accident or whatever.
Well, just shut down your car if you ram into someone else, into your own teammate, and let your teammate win the world championship.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of times where they have been near each other on the track, and there has been the potential for a fight. But I honestly think part of the reason why it doesn't pan out as well, though, is because they never seem to be on equal pace in any given race. I mean, look at this race in Monza. Piastri's asked to make the swap. He makes the swap. But he's told, once you've done that, you're free to race. And he couldn't keep up with Lando. So I think the positions ended up... the positions that we got are how it should have ended anyway, because Lando was quicker this weekend than Oscar. And I think that's just the way this season has been, really. It's just one driver's usually, even if it's half a second a lap, or less than that even, faster, that all adds up over the race, and then one of them beats the other by, like 5-10 seconds, whatever it ends up being. And I think that's really the story of the season so far, rather than McLaren kind of interfering, which obviously they do to an extent, but I don't think there's ever really been an opportunity, or too much of an opportunity, for them to fight anyway.
Yeah. I think that's where the limit was for me. If there's a mistake on the pit, that happens, and you just dealt a bad hand. And that's unfortunate. That happens, and it costs you points. And they turn that bad luck around, and no, it doesn't even matter. And that felt a little bit, I don't want to say unsportsmanship, because it's been part of the sport forever, but it doesn't feel like sport.
Yeah,
Maybe that's...
I see what you're saying on that, but it is a team sport, and team orders.
Yeah, so and for the
always
team
been
it doesn't matter, So
Yeah, and team orders have always been part of Formula One, apart from when they briefly tried to stop it, and then it didn't really work anyway.
Yeah, I got a question. Does team orders, do they need to be banned? They can't be banned.
They can't
you
be.
just
You just get the
hear
same as-
code words or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You just get the same as what Ferrari did. What was it, Alonso and Massa, wasn't it? Alonso is faster than you. You just get a situation like that again, and then everyone's throwing their hands in the air and complaining, and that's team orders. And what are they going to do? Because they didn't give an order; they just told him that Alonso was quicker than him, and then Alonso went past. It's not a team order.
Maybe it's just because okay, let's put it like this. Graham, was this actually a boring Grand Prix? If you take out the McLaren drama.
A bit. It was a bit, to be honest. I did find myself at times struggling to keep focused on what was actually happening on track without getting drifted away to looking at other things. But there was a few interesting things, but overall it was really dull. Max was too far ahead. Two McLarens were too far ahead. Charles, for all he was trying, just couldn't get close. It was a bit dull.
James, for you?
Same, yeah. There was some highlights. Max overtaking Lando, that was a brilliant move.
Lando did open the door a bit much, though. I didn't even expect that pass there.
Yeah,
what?
I think Lando he can't afford another DNF. He's already been in the championship, so he can't afford that. So he is playing it a little bit safe. But then, like Oscar's move on Leclerc, that was fantastic.
That was a nice one. Yeah. On the outside.
Yeah, there was some good battles when there was an opportunity for that to happen. But the problem is, once the first few laps are over, the field spread kind of kicks in, because they can't really follow each other around some of those corners super easily. And then the fighting kind of dies down, and everyone just gets stuck in a train as usual. And all right, there was a bit of action around the pit stop window time, but again, it's like a little bit, and then it all just sort of settles down, and then the race just kind of flows as it is, really.
I think 75 minutes from 1 hour 30 minutes, actually 73 minutes, was long enough for this race.
100% was, yeah.
A bit too much. Okay, topic, Graham. Red Bull is back, baby.
Are they?
That's what I'm asking.
Max is back. Red Bull, obviously, where did Yuki finish? Right at the back. So Max, he's definitely...
Yuki was an average of 1.45 seconds slower a lap. Just saying.
Yeah. Max is definitely back. Red Bull, obviously, I don't... As a team, obviously, Max will always carry them, but as a team, I think you need both drivers to be doing well, and with Yuki just being so far back, no, not as a team as yet. Max definitely is back.
James, are you out to Red Bull next year? Good? Not good?
Next year, I
Yes.
wouldn't want to make any kind of guesses about next year.
Well, it's not a guess. Hadjar will be in Red Bull next year.
Hadjar, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Red Bull, Max being back. I think the circuit flattered Max and the car a little bit to some extent. It's not a track that McLaren's advantages really kind of stand out on, is it? So,
and they took all the bombs out. That helps.
yeah. So I think next weekend, or next race rather, it's going to be back to our regularly scheduled Formula One McLaren show.
Baku actually, I think long straight there.
Well, it's a street circuit, so it's a bit bumpy.
Yeah.
There's some slow corners. So the McLaren seems to do best in like the mid to high speed corners. So yeah, maybe Red Bull won't be as far behind, but I still think McLaren's probably going to be back at the front next weekend or next race. Sorry.
Fair enough. Have you guys noticed that since Lauren Mackey's took over, it's been really calm and cozy and fun and a good atmosphere. No weird press conferences. Performances have been pretty good. I mean, second place in the Netherlands, sprint qualifying win before that, win at Monza. It's been pretty stable. You don't hear Yuki complain. No weird radios. Pit stop's been fast again. Do you think it brings some calmness back to Red Bull, Graham?
Calmness, yeah, but for us, a bit boring. Might be controversial, but I'm missing Christian Horner's hot takes and his ability to spice it up a bit, especially a dull weekend where, obviously, we said a wee bit of sprinkle of Christian drama would maybe, especially with the team orders, that would have been right up his street. But performance-wise, so far, Lawrence Mackey has done well. He seems to calm the team, but this is what his sort of remit is. Comes in, sort of just kills everybody down. So calm but boring. Maybe that's what you want.
Well, I'm not saying I want it, but I mean, I like good performances as well, so it does definitely help. And it's good not to be the. I never expected McLaren to be the talk of the town on Meme City, which they are this week. Usually it's Ferrari, and most of the time it's Red Bull. So it's a change of pace for me as a Red Bull fan, not being in that area. So it's I quite like it. This must feel like it Mercedes fan for right, James?
I haven't liked Formula One more than I have in the last 3 races.
Yeah.
I don't miss Christian at all, but then I think it's pretty well known that I'm not his biggest fan. I hate the stirring and the drama and the fake drama and the pretending to be, like outraged by whatever or having a hot take and we'd never ask Max and Yuki to swap like that or whatever Christian would say about that situation. Like I don't miss it at all. I think Formula One is a nicer and less toxic place without him at the moment. I mean, I'm sure some sort of drama will kick off eventually because we do still have Toto, and unfortunately, there's still Flavio hanging around in the pit lane at the moment. So there's always the potential for something to kick off, but at the moment, it's smooth waters, which are nice.
Definitely. All right. Next topic. Graham. Our dear friend Oliver Bearman is looking to be K-Mac 2.0. Will miss a race this year, but actually, he didn't do anything dangerous. What's your take?
I said that it was Carlos Sainz that was the main causing factor for the crash. I was surprised he get the 10 seconds. Obviously, he's caused a few issues himself, Bearman. That obviously Silverstone, that was well within his remit of making a mistake, but completely.
Well, 4 points, but most of them were for getting red flags.
Yeah, I'm completely.
I was spinning in the pit lane. That was the other one.
I'm completely shocked he got the penalty there. That I don't know what much more he could have done other than back out and completely checking out of the corner. I thought Carlos, being obviously one of the more experienced driver, but being the one on the outside, should have seen the the room for a collision and just took that wee step back himself. But each to their own.
Well, to be fair, I think this is exactly what the rules, which we all hate, say. You're in front of the apex, so the other one has to drop off. Bearman didn't drop off, hence gets a penalty. Do I agree with it? No, not really. Do I think, like you said, Sainz should just be smarter and leave a little bit more space? Yeah, because that's what Norris did with Max when Max overtook him. But then again, it's why Max had to give the space back as well in turn one, where I think Norris let it drift to the outside, but he was in front of the apex. And I'm afraid this is just what Formula One has become. But I do feel like if I look to our dear friend Bearman, he's now on 10 points. On 12 points, he'll get the penalty. He's like the done from Formula One now. 10 points, but I think 6 of points are from red flags or yellow flags incidents, which is just him being a little bit clumsy, which feels a little bit hard, don't you think, Jane? Getting him a penalty.
I think so. I don't know what else he was supposed to do. Really, I mean,
Back off, according to the rules.
Well, how at what point? Because he can't brake any harder than he is. He's racing, so he's obviously pushing to the limit, or 95% of the limit already. He would have made the corner if they hadn't collided. He was like half a car length up the inside. And I get the whole first to the apex thing, but he's had a significant part of his car up the inside of Carlos Sainz's car, and part of me wonders if this was actually that they felt that they were wrong about Carlos Sainz and Lawson in the Netherlands, so they're giving Carlos Sainz a break here.
But punish a rookie with 2 more extra penalty points.
Oh yeah, they 100% shouldn't do it because it's a completely different race, it's a completely different incident, and one of the drivers is completely different as well. So it's rubbish, really. But I don't know what Bearman was supposed to do. Sainz just should have taken a wider line around that corner. You can't just expect the car on the inside to vanish, especially the car on the inside, because what if he'd like locked up a little bit, or anything could have happened. But
then you look at turn 1 with Max and Lando. Max on the outside, Lando's letting the brakes just let a little bit loose. Max on the outside, he goes off the track, stays position, and he's also in the wrong. So the rule just sucks.
Well, yeah, but at the first corner, that's Lando's right, as the car in the lead and on the inside. He's the one on the racing line, so he's entitled to take the racing line on the way out of the corner, and it's up to the car behind to let that person do that. So what Max should have done really was probably back out of it and let Lando take his line and be first. But if he'd done that, he would have lost a lot of momentum through the corner and probably lost a couple of positions for it. So going off track and then just surrendering the position was probably the right thing for Max to do. But it's a little bit different because of the fact that Bearman was the car behind, but was also on the inside, whereas I think Lando kind of hit the apex first.
Yeah, so I find this a little bit of a rotten rule still. I'm not going to complain every show about this, but I feel bad for Bearman, especially since he's now on 10 points. I just checked. He needs to sit out the next 4 races without any incidents.
Yeah.
Sorry, Baku is in street circuit, which might cause some incident. Mexico ain't safe either.
A lot of blank corners as well. Like the engineers need to be on it in Baku because it's very easy. Well, not blind corners, and there's that. Well, I suppose.
Red flag, and you don't slow down, or you take the wrong line, and he's done.
Yeah.
How big do you think the chance is he might actually miss a race this year?
I think there's a pretty significant chance. I'm not going to say it's 100% that it's going to happen, but I think he's got a pretty good chance of missing a race. Yeah.
I agree. I'd say he's got a very high chance. He's a rookie. These engineers should be protecting him a bit better. But he's aggressive, he's fast, so he's trying to impress. So he's trying to do things to keep himself in a seat. I think he probably might miss a race this year, but I don't think it will stop him long term. I think
I don't think so either. I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Long term, I think it'll just be a rap on the knuckles. Like, come on, listen, learn, get over this, get it out your system, and let's go again next season. I still think he's fast tracked for a Ferrari seat in the future.
Oh, I agree. I think I actually think it's a really good rookie. And I quite like the guy. And so
And
he's
that's what
not
this
on my
season is for him as well. Like, get all the
yeah. So
mistakes
that's
out.
why I find it a little bit harsh, sort of mean. And if it's from silly mistakes of putting someone from track constantly or something like that, I've seen Kimi Antonelli do worse in the Dutch Grand Prix, for example. And like the incident in Silverstone where he spun off going into the pits, it sucked, but that was a typical rookie mistake, right? I found 2 points for that, also a little bit strict.
I'm not even convinced. That wasn't even really. I don't think that was even really a rookie mistake. That was just stupidity. That one, but like,
yeah, but still, you see, he's racking up.
It is the sort of thing that I suppose it's good to get out of the system in this season for him in his rookie season. This is where he needs to be making these mistakes and learning from them.
Worst case, he has to do like one race before the season ends. He has to make sure he gets the penalty for the last race of the season, so he can go on an early holiday and just leave it be.
As far as making stupid mistakes go, though, I think Antonelli's having a worse season than Bearman on that front. I think with some of the stuff.
Oh, so glad you mentioned it. James, let's continue on that conversation because I had in my notes, I think Antonelli might be the worst of the rookies this year.
To an extent, actually, yeah. Because I mean, let's list the rookies, shall we? So we've got Kimi Antonelli, Isaac Hadjar, Oliver Bearman, and Bortoletto is the other one, isn't it?
We had Duhan and technically Colapinto and technically Lawson, depending on whose rookies.
I don't know about Lawson. Well, I suppose technically Lawson. I mean, I think we did have this conversation towards the start of the season, didn't we? Because he's not done a full season. Really, he should be counted as a rookie because it's his first season.
I think F1 classed him and Colapinto is still rookies this year.
Okay, Colapinto is the worst. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Done this because, but
he is. Yeah,
Kimi's having a stinker, James.
Duhan's worse than Antonelli as well. So you're quite off the mark, to be honest, John.
Well, Duhan didn't actually get a chance here, though. I want to take it up for Jack Duhan because he just got all political system over him. He didn't get a chance. So.
Yeah, Antonelli is having a
mare.
Yeah, maybe some of the pressure, or maybe some of this is to do with the pressure of being a Mercedes driver because all the other rookies obviously are in junior teams, or they are now, with Lawson getting dropped down to Racing Bulls. So, maybe there is an element of pressure from being in a works factory, whatever you want to call it, team. And there is a lot of expectation on him. There's a lot of pressure on him. Everyone last season was calling him like Max Verstappen 2.0, the Italian Verstappen, whatever. And he's not really delivering at all. I mean, that move that he made on Leclerc in the Netherlands was just awful. I don't know what he was thinking doing that. And then he just had a pretty rough time of it all weekend, really, in Monza. So, yeah, I struggle with this one because you see sparks of brilliance from him now and then, and you think,
we said that about Colapinto as well.
Well, last season we thought he was amazing when he was driving for Williams, until he crashed it like 2 or 3 races in a row. But Antonelli, he has these flashes of brilliance, but then it doesn't take long for him to kind of show us the clumsy side of his driving as well, and the kind of over ambition, I suppose, with some of the moves he makes. But then some of those moves where it goes wrong, if you look at them and you think, if that had gone right, that'd be amazing. And that is what some of those good moves, I think, are. They're like, they're not 50-50 moves. They're like 70-30 in favour of being a bad move, and he just happens to pull them off, and then they look brilliant. and he needs to calm that down a little bit. But we've just been talking about Bearman. It's his first season. This is the season to get all these kind of, I suppose, F1 teething problems out of the way, and learn the grid, learn the cars, learn racing in Formula One. And
he's also not very fast consistently.
Not at the moment. No,
it's not even the mistakes. It's also there's no speed.
Yeah, he had a good run at the start of the season, and now he's kind of slowed down. But yeah.
Also, unlike a lot of the drivers, he's had his exams this year as well. So, top of being the pressure of being a very young rookie F1 driver in the biggest seat of all the rookies, he's also got all his exams that he's had to take place. So,
Lawson got the biggest seat of all the rookies, though, and
well, he lost it very quickly. So, in the long term of the season, Antonelli's had the biggest seat to fill, and obviously, like I said, he's had not only the pressure of the job, but the pressure of school outside of it as well. He's like James said,
he could also just drive for Williams, though, right? I mean, maybe I'm a little bit too harsh here, and I quite like the guy, honestly, right? Every interview, and I think everyone likes him. There's no issue there. But I do think, sure, he's in a big team and he's pressure's on it. But I also see him declining, and that's something you expect a rookie to grow through the season. Sure, they stumble, they step up, they stumble, they step. But at the end of the season, I expect rookies. And maybe I sound like a team principal currently, but I expect rookies to be on a higher level than they started off the year. And with Antonelli, I think, he started off brilliantly, but it's not getting much better lately. And not only like the last two races, it is consistently going downhill.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm scared of, because if you see Hijar, he started in the worst moment ever, right? Literally the worst thing that ever could happen to a rookie happened to him. Can't say anything bad about Hijar. He actually got a podium in this year in a V-Carb. So, talk about Bortoletto having an absolutely stinking car at the start of the season. That's progress, right? Bearman, actually pretty decent results lately.
Yeah.
I don't see that at Antonelli's, and therefore I'm a little bit worried about him.
You mentioned Williams, and I just wanted to pick up on that, because I don't think Williams is an option for a junior Mercedes driver anymore. Mercedes needs to find another team willing to do that. It's not Williams anymore. I mean, James Vowles has said that they don't really want to do that.
True. I mean,
maybe it'll be Alpine when they become a Mercedes customer next year.
Oh, I said
perhaps.
that. I said that. Remember we were talking about Max's contract situation? And I says, obviously, Antonelli's contract's up this summer. He's only got a 1 year deal, hasn't he? So I said, sign him back into a new deal, but it's part of the package with Alpine. You take Antonelli, give him a season in your car, and then we have George and Max. Now, obviously, that situation, it's obviously a no-go anymore, but would be perfect.
Oh, and they don't have Bottas anymore either, so they have to stick with Antonelli for next year.
Yeah, but that would have been a perfect situation if the cards aligned for them. That Alpine, you can take one of our drivers plus our engines. There's been a win-win for them.
I want to discuss the rookies and basically the most rating next week, when we also try maybe talk about if we can fit it in the Baku predictions.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got one gripe which I need to discuss, if that's okay with you guys.
Yep.
And this one's, we quickly mention it, but guys, I find it really hard to watch Formula One because I pay a hefty amount of money to watch cars go vroom. But all I'm seeing lately is people say or wave at the camera, and it's getting on my nerves. We missed the fastest pole lap in Monza ever because I was watching at some random girls at McLaren garage. We almost missed Max going over the finish line. We missed some awesome battles, which if you have having TV, at least you can watch, you click it on yourself. I'm going to start with James. James, is it just me or is it getting worse and worse and worse and worse?
It's not just you, it is getting worse. It's disappointing because earlier on in the season, it was garbage. And then suddenly they stopped being so bad with these random cuts into the crowd and into the garage to look at, I don't know, Sainz's partner or Leclerc's partner.
And don't get me wrong, I like looking at their partners.
Yeah,
Not during a race.
I mean, they're models. They are, their job is to be looked at in one way or another. But most of us are paying to watch Formula One, not to see people in the crowd and see people in the garage. So yeah, I'd like to see them reduce that a little bit. I don't know if some of it was to do with because it's Monza. Like Monza just has this almost kind of like fanfare football kind of atmosphere to it, with the crowd there with the Tifosi, and it's very kind of the crowd's very into it in Monza compared to some of the other races. So maybe there's an element of that. I mean, if we go to some of the circuits and there's barely a crowd to look at, so that's why they don't look at the crowd. So maybe they're just making the most of the fact that they're in Monza with a massive crowd that's very, 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 very passionate about racing, in particular a red racing team. But it's still a bit annoying to see, because especially when they make these cuts, like at the start of the race or when there's action happening on the race, when it's like a key moment, and when it's like Graham was saying earlier on about how like the race started to get boring and he was like his attention was dropping a little bit, or he was struggling to keep focused. I mean, I had the same problem as well, and I'm sure plenty of other people did, because the race did have stints where it was quite boring and there wasn't a lot happening. Go to the crowd in the pits then, like.
But we were looking at the, I think Charles's girlfriend. Again, stunning, but that's not what I'm paying for.
Yeah.
When the incident between Sainz and Bearman happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And I saw that on a picture-in-picture.
Yeah.
I like, why am I watching the picture-in-picture? Well, there's actually a track. There's action happening on track. And this year we've had some amazing graphics. Like, previous years when they hit the brakes, the drivers, and we had the point of view, the halo view. We saw they hit the brake 100% always. They tuned that after 2 races this year, where we can actually see the amount of pressure applied on the brakes. They brake for 20% or 80%. It's brilliant. With helmet views these days. And now, currently I'm watching F1 TV on my big screen, turning all the side cams on so I can at least see them, because they're not broadcast anymore. Graham, help us. Bring us some positivity in this conversation, because...
you're the wrong person to ask here. It's not even F1 though. Like, as football fans, I don't know how many times as a Feyenoord fan, if you're watching it on TV, but as a Rangers fan, I don't know how many times, like, ball goes out and it'll show you replay maybe 2 or 3 times of the same incident, and then it's game's kicked off again and somebody's near the goal and you're still watching a replay and you can hear the fans in the background going mental, whatever's happening on the pitch, and then you haven't watched a replay of something you should have seen live. But it's just bad directorship. But like I said earlier on, we're watching 2 McLaren cars going around, getting nowhere close to each other. We're missing the Bearman Saints. We're missing Hamilton cut through the field. We're missing so much.
Albon fighting with Russell.
Yep, Albon. But was it Belgium? I think we've seen more of Lando Norris's mum than we've seen some of the back markers.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but I'm definitely not paying to watch her. Although she does look nice. But
yeah, they probably are lovely people, but like you said, we're not paying to see people's families. That's what social media's for. We can go on Instagram and see photos of their partners and their wives, their dogs. Like, what was it? Was it Thursday when the Friday the free practice? Sky cut to a video of Lewis Hamilton's dog walking through the paddock area. No offense, but I want to watch the cars, like you said. That it's bad directorship, and then it's a curse across all sports, it seems, at the moment.
Yeah, but then check out, for example, when Le Mans comes on, right? They got proper television direction. The graphics are really well tuned. They look into everything. They got at the right moment, and it's a 24-hour broadcast basically, and it's perfect. They do an interview. They pop up the interview, but let the big screen show the race. They show fights in the GT3s, for example. When it happens, they show pit stops in time. Those TV directors, or the DTV director, knows what's going on in the race and then tunes into that, right? I have the feeling these are television show producers that say cut to camera thing. Oh, we need if it's a TikTok video, we need every 5 seconds to switch to a different view. I actually like if Max does a hot lap and it show me that one lap from his point of view. You know, we used to have those, James. We used to have those turn the sound up moments.
Yeah.
It's gone. Where's it been? Where's it gone?
In some ways, I don't miss that, to be honest.
I thought one lap of raw footage.
I know it just felt a little bit cheesy, but yeah. I mean, there are still things that are missing. Like they used to do like the G-force graphic, which we don't get that super often anymore. There was one at one point I thought it was brilliant. I haven't seen it in quite a while. When the camera was on the front wing, or even actually sometimes when it was on the halo cam, there was a little graphic to tell you which corner was coming up with a little a little corner graphic, like pointing in the direction it was going to be and tell you which number corner it was. I used to really like that because if you cut to a random Aston Martin when you've been watching the leaders, you don't really necessarily know whereabouts on the circuit they are. So to get that graphic was nice, and we don't get that anymore, or I haven't noticed it in quite a while. And there are little things like that where they seem
I got 10 more for you. Instead of giving me a graphic that it's Lewis Hamilton's, I don't know, 250,000 Grand Prix somewhere in the corner. Whenever we hit that corner on the free practice, put the name from the corner in that same graphic so everyone learns the track.
Yeah.
And when the director says they're going into Les Mills 1 or Les Mills 2, actually people know what they're talking about. Yeah. I mean, we know because, of course, we know the tracks and stuff, but it doesn't hurt and it adds to the experiences, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I just find it very frustrating. And I felt awful for Lewis Hamilton because he started with the grid penalty. He had a decent race, as good as the Ferrari could get, I think. It's some awesome overtakes who are completely missed. And I saw 3 laps later on the replay. Yeah, it needs to be better, guys, because
it does, yeah.
Next, in 2 weeks, we have Azerbaijan, Baku, of course, right? It's a brilliant track, but if TV direction there is as bad as it was this week, you might miss half of it because it's an even harder track to follow.
Yeah, let's not play any kind of drinking game to do with viewing people watching from their balconies and houses. Because we'll be doing this show hungover even if we're doing it 4 days later.
Yeah, well, also, last topic of the show, go Max, well done. Awesome race, 1 hour 13, fastest lap in Monza, although everyone would have done that on that without bumps, I guess. It just felt good being back for one full-run race this year. Last question, James, and Graham, I'll ask you, how many races will Max win this year still? Let's ask Graham first. Asking the McLaren fan first. That's the lead edition.
Well, obviously, I said in the Discord that we have prior to the weekend that even as a McLaren fan, I wanted to see somebody else win this weekend. I predicted somebody could win other than McLaren this weekend. Just for the spectacle, it's nice to see other people win. I reckon it could maybe another 2.
Which tracks are you looking into then?
Not sure what to, but just the way I reckon that anything could happen. Like safety car, bad crash, that we could get the gloves off and the 2 McLarens could take each other around out in first corner and Max is sailing. So I don't know what to.
That just needs to happen 4 times and Max is in the championship fight back.
There you go. That's maybe why Zach Brown's very conservative of it all, but I don't know what to. But I'd say if he's got a chance, maybe another 2.
James?
He's definitely going to win at least a race. That's my prediction. I think Las Vegas is probably going to be good for him.
Could also very good be for Ferrari, actually. So.
Potentially. But yeah, I think Las Vegas is probably going to be good for him and Red Bull. Maybe not so much Yuki, but the Red Bull in general compared to other circuits. maybe Singapore, but
Nah, never Singapore. He's never won
the
there
Red Bull
before.
doesn't really. Well, in previous iterations of the Red Bull, it doesn't do very well over those
Nah.
bumps. But this year might be different. I don't know, but I don't think Azerbaijan's going to be a winning track for him. I don't think what else is there coming up?
It was
United
just
States.
We have Brazil,
Mexico,
which he quite likes. We have Mexico, which
Qatar.
it's called Mexico for a reason.
Yeah, Mexico could. Yeah, so I think the two is Mexico's what the other one. If we're looking for at least two circuits, it's got a good chance at, or just any circuit in the remaining races, I'd say Las Vegas and Mexico.
And he swept Brazil.
Singapore,
Kota.
probably not. Azerbaijan, probably not. United States, definitely not.
Why not?
It's too fast and flowing for it's got all the things that the McLaren car does well. And I think that's going to be the same for where else have we got? It's going to be the same for Interlagos. Qatar. It's going to be the same. Qatar's going to be really good for McLaren. I think McLaren will absolutely run away at that circuit. And then Abu Dhabi.
That's
again. I think again that's going to be another McLaren runaway circuit as well.
Fair enough. Okay, I think Brazil's actually one of the options he could win because that top speed on that straight plus Max and Brazil is just fire. Even with a bad car, he still could win there. It's the race where you made up 20 places, right? So if you can do it anywhere, it's there. I think I thought Kota, but actually you make a great point. I do think Las Vegas is definitely an option, and I'm actually hopeful for Azerbaijan. And the only thing we don't see Max at all on whole weekend would be Singapore. I think he'll end up like 7th or something there.
Yeah.
Yuki will be out 7 laps behind everyone. So. But we'll rate Yuki next time. Do a separate show about Yuki, I think. And we have to talk about Cadillac next time, of course, because they've announced the drivers.
Yeah.
But I definitely have an opinion about that. But we'll talk about that next time. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure being back with you guys.
Yeah, good to be back.
Yeah. If you like the show, of course, as always, I know you guys do, but drop us a 5-star review on Spotify or on Apple Podcast, or better, do both. Really helps us. It's free, it's easy, and well, it definitely helps us to grow this podcast. And who knows, maybe we can make it consistent in the near future with enough of your support. So thank you very much for that. Graham, James, it's been a pleasure. See you next time. Bye-bye.
See you later.
See you later.